Hi, my name is Haneen, and I have noticed that Muslims around the world are misunderstood every day. And so for this, I've decided to ask multiple Muslim students to help me out and answer one question. And the question is, what is one thing that you wish people knew about the religion of Islam? And these were their responses.
One thing that I would want others to know about Islam is that, Islam is a religion of hope. And hope is something that a lot of us need nowadays because we go through a lot of, hardship and, a lot of issues. And in fact, in Surah chapter 94, verse 5 and 6, Allah makes it very clear in regards to the situations of one's hardship, as Allah says, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. So although at times we may be going through, hardship and going through situations that may feel as if it's the end of the world, we need to always be mindful that, by persevering, surely goodness will come out of it.
One thing I wish people knew about Islam is that it addresses mental health, specifically within mental health, the topic of loneliness. And one verse in particular that really stands out is the fourth ayah of Surah Al-Hadid, which part of that ayah says, وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَ مَا كُنْتُمْ. And so that translates to, and He is with you wherever you are. So it's kind of reminding people that Allah is with you essentially wherever you are, whether that's the mental state, the physical state, that He is with you. So if you don't have anyone, at least you have someone to think about and obviously to worship.
I'm going to quote a hadith that says, لا يرحم الله من لا يرحم الناس. Allah will not be merciful to those who are not merciful to people. So it kind of shows us that Muslims have a duty to Allah, but by our duty to Allah, we have a duty to His creation to be kind and merciful and accepting of others.
I wish people knew about women's rights in Islam. I think people oftentimes think that women are oppressed when they wear the scarf around their head. People think that they're forced to wear it, when in reality it is being actually kind of a way for women to have sort of a cultural identity and a religious identity in a way. And I think people are misunderstood by the fact that it was supposed to protect women from outside environments in a way for men to lower their gaze as well. And in Islam, actually, our Prophet Muhammad, he actually raised the status of women, and women were actually, at the time before Islam was actually introduced, men would actually have, if they would have daughters, then they would bury them alive. They would think that they're, in other words, a kind of a burden, essentially. But when Prophet Muhammad came and he introduced Islam, he elevated the status of women and said that women are important, and that if you had daughters in your life and if you took care of them and you educated them well, then that would be actually a way to heaven for a father.
I think that's really important about religion to know is that it's not a compulsion. Religion is so much about intention, and specifically I want to talk about the hijab. A lot of people think that wearing a hijab is what makes you a better worshipper or a better Muslim, but I think it's about your intention. There are so many people that I know in my family even that are the most virtuous people I know. They don't wear hijab. There are people who I've gone to school with who've been forced to wear hijab by their parents, and they end up taking it off and lying to their parents. So I think it's important that people know that it's a choice, it's a beautiful thing, it's a free thing, and it's something that people should want to do, and if they don't want to do it, that doesn't make them a bad Muslim at all.
One thing which I wish people should know about the religion of Islam is how Islam teaches us to be kind with women. And for this I would give a reference of Quran, chapter number 4, verse number 20, Ashiruhunna bil Maruf, which means that to be kind with women. And I think this concept has been misunderstood by all the people around the world, that to treat women like a lifeless object or treat them with inhumane manner. So I think that this is the wish I wish people should know about the religion of Islam.
I wish people would not confuse culture with religion. And I think that that's something that's so easy to do, and I think it's something that us Muslims do as well. And there's so many different ways that this happens, and there's so many different examples of how we kind of merge them together, but they're very separate things. One example of this that really speaks to me is the idea of not judging other people. Islam teaches us to not judge others for the way they practice Islam and the way they act and behave, because the reality is we don't know everything about other people, and so we have no right to judge them for the way they live their lives. There's a hadith that says that none of you will believe until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. And we as people wouldn't want to be judged or we want people to give us the benefit of the doubt, right? So it's important for us to give others that same duty. And it's important for us to excuse them for things because we don't know the situation.
Is how much taking care of the parents is emphasized in the Quran. One ayah that comes to my head is when Allah says, وَلَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So what's very important about this ayah is right after Allah talks about being obedient to Him, the second thing He talks about is obeying your parents.
I want to share a famous Quran quote that I came across recently. So this Quran verse would be like a yet to be famous verse, and I really want to share it with you because the Harvard has actually recognized this verse to be like a pretty good expression of social justice. And let me read it out to you guys. O you who believe, stand up firmly for justice as witnesses to God, even as against yourself, or your parents, or your kin, or whether it be against rich or poor, for God can best protect both. So what I think about this verse is that it's kind of focusing from individual spirituality towards the rights of whole group of people. So I feel like Islam is trying its best to bring good to people from smaller level to the highest level that you can ever imagine. And I feel like this might give you a good idea what Islam is about. It's not about bring people restrictions, make people's life bad, suffering or miserable, but to bring goodness, hope, and to fight for people's rights.